Welcome back to episode 136 of Teachers in Transition, the podcast and the YouTube channel. My name is Kitty Boitnott. I am the founder of Teachers in Transition, the owner of Boitnott Coaching, and consider myself a heart-centered career transition and job search coach, specializing in working with burnt-out teachers who are ready to make a career change but don't know how or where to start. I'm also a certified stress management coach. So if you've listened to this podcast in the past, you know that I alternate topics each week. One week I talk about stress management strategies, and on alternating weeks I talk about career transition strategies. And this week the topic is career transition. What it occurs to me to talk about today is the importance of not letting what you do define who you are or stop you from becoming what you want. Now, what do I mean by that? Whether you are a teacher or a lawyer or an accountant or whatever it is that you might consider yourself to be, although most of the folks who listen to this podcast, I suspect, are teachers. Most of them, when they start to think about making a change in their job or career, they consider first what is it that they think they might be qualified to do based on their past, based on what they do right now. And the problem with that is that it's very, very limiting. You won't get very far, frankly, if you only stick to jobs that you think are suitable for former teachers or former lawyers or former accountants. I'm suggesting that you need to expand your horizons and consider more, instead of what you've been doing and what you consider yourself to be, what would you like to be? Imagine starting with a clean slate. Based on your past experiences, based on your education, based on your personal life up to this point in time, all of the cumulative experiences that you've had. Looking down the future, looking away towards what you would like to become, what would that look like for you if you could start fresh? Using all of the experiences that you have up until this point. But what if you could reconfigure them, redefine yourself, become something totally new and different, even while using your past experiences? In my case, it became obvious after a while that what I needed to do in my career transition was to take all of the years of experience that I have had as an educator, my education and my interests, my stage in life when I decided to leave the classroom behind and embrace something brand new and at the time totally unknown. And what emerged from all of that was, and the other thing I do have to offer, a desire to continue to stay in connection with teachers, some way, somehow, in some form, and to be of service some way, somehow, in some form. Those were the two things that I knew for sure, that I wanted to stay in touch with teachers, that I wanted to be of service. Everything else was a big question mark. But what I knew was that I had 37 years of experience working with teachers, working in different schools and in different school environments with different administrators. I had all of those years of experience to pull on. I also had education. I had one master's degree, a second master's degree, and a PhD in educational leadership. So what could I do with all of that? I also had an interest in the spirit, the spiritual side of life. I was, at the time that I was going through my particular transition, I was finishing up my licensure requirements to become a licensed Science of Mind minister, which is probably where the need to be of service in some way came through. And I decided somehow to use all of that to create something brand new, which was ultimately Boitnott Coaching, and then after that, the founding of Teachers in Transition. That was my particular journey. So what I'm suggesting to you, if you're listening to this podcast or you're watching this video and you're thinking, yeah, I want to make a change, but I don't know how. I don't know where to start. I don't know what I would want to be. To start with making an assessment of everything you've done up to this point in your life. Write it all down if you need to remind yourself of all the things you've done, all the contributions you've made, all the experiences that you loved and would love to engage in again, along with all of the experiences that you didn't love and would prefer not to have to do again. Because all of that information can inform who you are about to become in your next career. Without doing that pre-work, you can't intentionally create a future that is going to be coherent for you. You might find a new job, but who's to say that it won't be worse than the job that you had if you aren't intentional about what you choose to do next? So take time in the very beginning of your desire to make a change, when you first start to think about, I'm ready to make a change, but I don't know how or where to start. Where you start is with an assessment of where you are, where you've been, and where you'd like to be going. And there may be some assessments or some reading that you can do to help you along the way. I recommend a number of books to my clients. I offer a number of assessments that you might take advantage of. They're all out there. Some are free, some are low fee, some are expensive. I have them all if you're interested. But that's where you start, doing a self-inventory, if you will. Establishing everything that you've done up until now. And what I'm suggesting is that you don't allow who you are professionally, what you've been doing, whether it's for 6 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Don't let that define who you want to be, what you want to become in the next chapter of your life. If you want to talk about that, I offer a complimentary discovery session, 20 to 30 minutes. I'll offer the link to my calendar in the notes below. Let's chat about your particular and unique skills, talents, abilities, history, your unique combination of education and experience. No one else out there is like you. So how do you want to use that uniqueness, that individuality to help you to define who you want to become next in your career? Let's talk about it. And if you'd like to do that, make an appointment on my calendar. If you can't find a time on the calendar that works for your schedule, email me at kittyboitnott@gmail.com to let me know the time and date that would work better for you. I'll try to work you in. If you have comments, thoughts, suggestions for future podcast episodes, email me at kittyboitnott@gmail.com. And if you would please review this podcast to help other people find it, I would really appreciate it if you would do that before you forget about it and go on with the rest of your week. And I would love to talk to you if you do want to chat about your future and what you might do with it at this point. So have a wonderful week. Take care, stay well, and I will see you next week.